Hello again, everyone, and welcome back to the Fusion Industry Association. My name is Jasmine Mund. I'm a mechanical design engineer with a key interest in the fusion industry. Today is Wednesday, the 19th of August, 2026, and this is our Fusion News update for the week. Let's dive right into our top stories. 1. Kyoto Fusioneering to relocate US headquarters to Tennessee and deliver Unity 3 with ORNL. 2. Fusion energy developer TAE signs helium-3 future fuel supply option agreement. 3. MIT scientists' new framework could make fusion power a commercial reality. 4. Fusion fuel tech makes commercial leap. 5. Latest MAST Upgrade experiments achieve milestones. 6. Fuse touts highest neutron yield by any fusion company. And make sure you stay till the end because, as usual, I have a couple of interesting bonus stories that you definitely don't want to miss. 1. Kyoto Fusioneering to relocate US headquarters to Tennessee and deliver Unity 3 with ORNL, a first-of-its-kind facility to de-risk fusion technology. FIA member Kyoto Fusioneering has announced it will relocate its US headquarters from Seattle to Oak Ridge, Tennessee, alongside a multi-million-dollar investment that will establish a first-of-its-kind fusion testing facility in partnership with Oak Ridge National Laboratory, or ORNL. The move is expected to create new jobs and further strengthen Oak Ridge's position as one of the world's leading centres for fusion research and development. At the heart of this announcement is a new facility called Unity 3. Rather than generating electricity, Unity 3 will act as a specialised fusion test facility designed to validate one of fusion energy's most challenging engineering problems, tritium breeding. Future deuterium-tritium fusion power plants will need to produce their own tritium fuel inside the plant, using specially designed breeding blankets. Demonstrating that this process works reliably is considered one of the key milestones on the road to commercial fusion power. According to Kyoto Fusioneering, Unity 3 will provide experimental data under realistic fusion neutron conditions, helping to reduce technical risk before commercial plants are built. The project is being developed through a public-private partnership with ORNL, drawing on the laboratory's decades of experience in neutron science and advanced fusion technologies. It's another example of how national laboratories are increasingly working alongside private fusion companies to accelerate commercial development. Commenting on the announcement, Kyoto Fusioneering's co-founder and CEO, Satoshi Kenishi, said, "By delivering Unity 3 alongside ORNL, we're establishing the foundational shared infrastructure required to accelerate a viable commercial fusion industry globally." The relocation also highlights Oak Ridge's growing importance within the global fusion industry. 2. Fusion energy developer TAE signs helium-3 future fuel supply option agreement. California-based FIA member TAE Technologies has signed a future fuel supply option agreement with FIA affiliate member Black Moon Energy Corporation, securing the option to purchase helium-3 for use in future commercial fusion power plants. Unlike most fusion developers, which are pursuing deuterium-tritium fusion, TAE has long focused on developing technology capable of using hydrogen-boron fuel. However, the company has also explored helium-3 as a potential future fuel because of its attractive properties. Fusion reactions involving helium-3 produce significantly fewer neutrons than conventional deuterium-tritium reactions, potentially reducing material damage inside plants and simplifying long-term maintenance. One challenge, however, is that helium-3 is incredibly scarce on Earth. That's where Black Moon Energy comes in. The company is developing plans to source helium-3 from the Moon, where scientists believe the isotope has accumulated within the lunar regolith after billions of years of exposure to the solar wind. While lunar mining remains some way from becoming reality, TAE's agreement represents an early commercial commitment to securing supplies should production become available. Speaking about the announcement, TAE Technologies CEO Michael Binderbauer said, "The agreement aligns with our long-term fuel strategy and reflects the company's ambition to pursue the most advanced fusion fuel cycles possible as the technology matures." 3. MIT scientists' new framework could make fusion power a commercial reality. For our third story this week, we're moving away from plasma physics and into economics, with a story from interesting engineering. Researchers from MIT have developed a new framework designed to evaluate whether future fusion power plants can become economically competitive with other sources of electricity. Rather than asking, can fusion work, the researchers are asking an equally important question: can fusion make financial sense? According to the study, achieving commercial success won't depend solely on reaching scientific milestones such as net energy gain. Instead, future fusion plants will also need to demonstrate that they can generate electricity reliably, keep construction costs under control, and operate with high availability over many years. One of the key messages from the work is that engineering decisions made today, such as plant size, maintenance strategy, and component lifetime, could have just as much of an influence on commercial success as plasma performance itself. Investors, utilities, and governments all want confidence that future fusion plants won't simply produce electricity. They'll produce it at a price that can compete in modern energy markets. 4. Fusion fuel tech makes commercial leap. Our fourth story this week focuses on one of the less visible but absolutely essential parts of a fusion power plant: getting fuel into the plasma. The Oak Ridge National Laboratory has licensed 4 cryogenic pellet fueling technologies to FAA member Type 1 Energy, marking what Nuclear Engineering International describes as a significant commercial leap for fusion fuel technology. In magnetic confinement fusion plants such as tokamaks and stellarators, fuel can't simply be injected like gas into a conventional engine. Instead, tiny pellets of frozen hydrogen isotopes are fired into the plasma at extremely high speeds. These cryogenic pellets penetrate deep into the plasma before vaporizing, allowing fresh fuel to reach the core where fusion reactions occur. Reliable pellet fueling will be critical for future commercial fusion plants, particularly those designed for long duration or continuous operation. Without an efficient fueling system, even the best performing plasma would quickly run out of fuel. The licensing agreement gives Type 1 Energy access to 4 ORNL developed technologies covering pellet production and delivery. The company intends to integrate these systems into its Stellarator development program, reducing the time needed to move proven laboratory technologies into commercial plant designs. This announcement is another example of an important trend we've been seeing throughout 2026. National laboratories increasingly transferring decades of fusion research into the hands of private companies. Rather than every company developing every subsystem from scratch, commercial developers can build upon technologies that have already undergone years of scientific testing. 5. Latest MAST Upgrade experiments achieve milestones. Our fifth story takes us to the UK, where the UK Atomic Energy Authority's MAST Upgrade has completed its latest experimental campaign with several important results. According to World Nuclear News, researchers achieved the highest plasma pressure ever recorded on MAST Upgrade, whilst also demonstrating new techniques for controlling plasma instabilities. The experiments also provided further data on the machine's Super X diverter, which is designed to spread the intense heat produced by the plasma over a larger surface area. Managing this heat is one of the major engineering challenges facing future fusion technology. These results are particularly valuable for the UK's fusion programme, providing information that can help inform the development of future power plants, including STEP. 6. Fuse touts highest neutron yield by any fusion company. Our final main story comes from PowerMag about FIA member Fuse, who have announced that what they say is the highest neutron yield achieved by any private fusion company, 1.27 times 10 to the 12 in a single shot. The result was achieved using the company's pulsed fusion system and represents an important indicator of progress. Neutron production demonstrates that fusion reactions are occurring within the device, although it doesn't mean the system has achieved net energy gain. The company says the milestone follows improvements to its plasma and overall system performance as it continues developing its fusion technology. For the wider industry, results like this provide measurable evidence that private fusion companies are continuing to improve their experimental systems. And while there's still a significant distance between producing fusion reactions and generating commercial electricity, each increase in performance brings developers another step closer to that goal. And now, as promised, here are the bonuses. First up, we have a bonus about researchers developing what is described as the first silver-based tritium technology for fusion plants. The development could improve how tritium is handled and recovered within future fusion fuel cycles, potentially making operation more efficient and supporting the long-term sustainability of deuterium-tritium fusion systems. And finally, I have a bonus about one of fusion's most recognisable figures taking on a new leadership role. Professor Dennis Whyte, currently a professor at MIT and co-founder of FIA member Commonwealth Fusion Systems, has been appointed as the next Chief Executive Officer of the UK Atomic Energy Authority. And that's it for today. I really hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you did, don't forget to drop a like, comment or subscribe. If you'd like to know more about any of the stories or bonuses mentioned today, as always, the links will be in the description below. And you can follow our Fusion News Extra podcast for a more in-depth look into the topic of fusion energy. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.